Hi, this is Tony Ruggiero here on The Tour Coach. First of all, I want to thank all of you for listening and supporting The Tour Coach over the past several seasons. It's been a fun ride, and we've got some great stuff going on. Many of you may have seen the launch and the first little pilot episode of Pro Work that we've done in partnership with Bushnell Golf. This is the first in the series. It's been one of my ambitions, one of my kind of like projects and dreams for the past couple years, to film an inside, authentic, behind-the-scenes look at how myself and the team of great coaches, teachers, fitness experts, and mental coaches all work together. At first, it was just with tour players, but now I want to show you how we work together. The Colby Tuyes, the Dr. Greg Cartons, the Mark Hackett's, Morgan Hales, Jackson Koert's, Dr. Scott Lynn's, Dan Terlesky, all of us at Old Palm and at our retreats work together to help golfers of all skill level, and for it to be a real authentic, a real behind-the-scenes look, unedited, where you kind of see some of our discussions and some of the fun that we have. And so to kick this series off, we're starting a contest, okay? And that contest is going to be a social media contest for a Dew Sweeper Tour Coach giveaway. We're going to do the drawing the Monday after Augusta. We're going to draw one lucky winner. The winner is going to receive one free trip to come see me and our team at one of our retreats, okay? So you're going to get a free entry to our retreat with a brand new Bushnell Pro XE rangefinder, plus 3 custom fit Cleveland golf wedges, and it wouldn't be a Dew Sweeper Tour Coach giveaway without some Vineyard Vines Dew Sweepers gear. So here's how you enter a chance to win this fantastic opportunity to travel to come see us for a retreat with a Bushnell Pro XE rangefinder, new Cleveland wedges, and a Vineyard Vines Dew Sweepers gear. It's simple. All you got to do is go on your social media. So go to social media, go to Instagram, and post a screenshot of your favorite Tour Coach episode, okay? Tag me at the Dew Sweeper, tag at Bushnell Golf, and tag at Cleveland Golf, okay? Hashtag Pro Work, hashtag Tour Coach, okay? I hope you're the lucky winner. If you go to Twitter, it's at Dew Sweeper Golf, at Cleveland Golf, at Bushnell Golf, hashtag Pro Work, hashtag Tour Coach. So wherever you are, whatever social media you use, tag me, Bushnell, Cleveland Golf, and hashtag Pro Work, hashtag Tour Coach for an opportunity to win, once again, a retreat entry to come see me, work with me and my team at one of our famous retreats, plus a brand new Bushnell Pro XE, along with custom fit 3 Cleveland golf wedges for you and your game, and some Dew Sweepers Vineyard Vine gear. We're going to do the drawing the Monday after the Masters. Hope all of you enjoy this edition of the Tour Coach, along with some of the upcoming episodes. We've got some fantastic guests, some fantastic insight behind the scenes. But I promise you, check out our social media. Go to Bushnell Golf on YouTube. Find the first edition of Pro Work. Take a listen. Take a look. Tell me what you think. There's more inside, authentic, behind-the-scenes looks at our instruction team, and so going to be plenty of laughs as well, I promise you. So once again, this is Tony Ruggiero. Hope you enjoy listening to the Tour Coach. Hope you enjoyed watching Pro Work. Take advantage of this opportunity. Once again, go on Instagram, take a screenshot of your favorite Tour Coach episode or the one you're listening to, and tag me at the Dew Sweeper, at Bushnell Golf, at Cleveland Golf, hashtag Pro Work, hashtag Tour Coach. Hopefully you're the lucky winner. Enjoy this edition of the Tour Coach, and hopefully we'll see you soon on the lesson tee. All right, so where are we?
We're in the whiskey bar, Tony.
We're at the whiskey bar here in. I know. Is this still Augusta or is this South?
We're in Augusta, Georgia.
We're in Augusta, Georgia. Masters Week, Wednesday, just after the Par 3 contest. I got Justin Parsons, Jackson Koert, and Coop, the legend, back on with us. Hello, everybody from Coop. JP, first of all, thanks for joining us. I know you've had a hectic week, a lot of stuff going on. But tell us, first of all, how many guys you got in here?
I got 3 players here. I got Louis Oosthuizen, Harris English, and Brian Harmon. It's an amazing week. I mean, it's a lot of fun. The players enjoy it. I come up here on Sunday morning, so we were on the golf course on Sunday afternoon. some people might not know we're actually allowed to walk as instructors, allowed to walk on the golf course on the Sunday afternoon or the Sunday before the golf tournament. And then come Monday, the rules start to change, and we're not allowed out there on a Monday. So it's a long and attritional week for the players. They love it. They want to be a part of it. But, managing their rest and managing their energy is a big part of it.
Yeah, that's what I said to Jackson. I think it was today or yesterday. We were all talking like no other golf tournament do you start the Sunday before. I don't ever see it like the week becomes so long.
Yeah.
And they're closed. The courses are closed on Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like super preparation.
Right. It's like, so to me it just gets to be so long. Like, I thought for our perspective, just from us with Ben, I thought it was great where he said today he played Sunday with Coop, and I thought it was great where he just said, hey, I think I just want to do a range session and play the par 3 with my brother caddy, and that'd be it for the day. I thought that was great.
Get a bit of space. Tell the guys about. I watched Ben hit some shots. Beautiful golf swing, very stable. Beautiful rotation through the ball. You've kind of softened the grip out a little bit. What did he win to get here? How did he get in?
He got in from he was finalist in the USA.
Right.
So,
Ben Cooper. Ben
Carr.
Ben Carr.
So he lost in the amateur in the finals, one down on 36. Obviously, super good player. Plays at he's a senior at Georgia Southern, getting ready to finish. Anticipating. Who knows? But
pro career.
But his goal is to turn professional after the U.S. Open. Because now, which I did not know this until the other week, you cannot use your exemption in the U.S. Open that you earned as an amateur and turn pro.
If you're a pro,
the champion can
do that. And Jackson, you were here putting work with Ben. What have you noticed with the greens and the way they've changed and what you've been doing?
I was actually a little bit surprised at how soft they are right now. Obviously, they're just anticipating making it firmer as the week goes on, and maybe a little bit with the weather forecast as well.
Maybe overnight they have that ability. We could go out there tomorrow and they could be blue. If they check.
And the reason for that, they've got a sub-air system at Augusta. A lot of the really upscale golf courses in the United States have a sub-air system, but I've been out there on a Wednesday before, and you can hear that really whirring, Coop, whenever you're listening to it.
Like a jet engine.
Vibrates your feet as you're walking down 8. You can just feel it pumping the water out. So they have the ability to make the course how they want it.
And the Masters feels really uncluttered.
Mm-hmm.
Like really organized, you know where you're going. Stuff is obviously the details on the spectators' end is taken care of, but also on this end as well, because this is my first time being on this side. But yeah, very uncluttered. Being
the first time, did you feel like not nervous, but am I doing the right thing, or what can I do? What can I do? What instruments can I pull out?
Not really. I just loved it because this was one of the tournaments that made me fall in love with golf when I was a kid. So I think walking around there was almost too much fun.
Today when you just suggested Ben go to the putting green by the tees, that was spot on. So this guy Jackson knows his stuff, people.
Yeah, that other green, I didn't like it as much as for preparation.
The really good putting instructors will see that the green. There's a green down by the driving range, which is fairly flat and kind of slowish, and then there's a green up the top by the 10th tee, right behind the 10th tee, which has got a lot more undulation and tends to be a lot quicker. So you'll see guys like Phil Kenyon and Jackson, the people who know what they're doing with putting. They'll get up there and do a lot of the work at the top green.
Holes on that green too.
So I'm going to ask you, I'll tell you what we did today, then I want your opinion on what you think and what you did with your guys. So today we structured, like I said, he only wanted to do a good range session. And actually because of how all week he had tee times, and I thought it was fantastic. He played with Larry Mize and Russell Henley every day. It's Larry's last Masters competitor. They're from the same hometown. Living and so he was we never really did a range session. He did a warm-up getting ready to go play, but we didn't really ever have a session where we filmed a couple, looked at it and talked about stuff.
We did the yardage.
Yep.
Played 18.
Today it was brilliant. So Coop had him hit every second shot, gave him the numbers. We knew how far he had to carry it, how far was too far or what the boundaries were.
When you're using a launch monitor for that, or you
start pushing out launch pro, I'll throw that in there. See how good I am.
Tony's getting the tab now for that.
Yeah, I'll pick up some beers for that. But we did that, and then we hit all 14 tee shots that he had to hit.
Very important.
And I thought that was just a great practice session because it kept him, to me, as you get closer to it, it's harder to keep him focused on the range because there's people yelling at you from the stands, there's cameras everywhere, and especially for an amateur who hasn't done it. And I will say he said one thing, I guess I could say this, he said today that when he got done, he said that Jackson and I, he'd never hit. He wondered if he was going to like hitting shots in front of a big crowd like that. But he turns out he really liked it.
Good on him. Well done.
But I thought that was good. I thought from our we've talked about he feels comfortable, and he said something where he said he wanted, regardless of how he played, he wanted to soak everything in and really enjoy it.
Good boy.
Which I thought was good.
Yeah.
Now, what about you? What did you do with your guys today? And what are the challenges for you during the week? And how the hell do you do 3 guys?
They're different. I mean, Louis. I've worked for Louis for 5 years. It's probably my 5th Masters with Louis. You got to kind of work out when Louis needs you and when he doesn't need you, and when to stay out of the way and when to kind of get involved. And he's suffering with a fairly significant elbow issue at the moment, and we're trying to manage that. He found it difficult on the range today. He's got a support and he's got ice and he's got things going on, and he's trying to figure out whether he can hit it better with the support on or whether the support off. And really, I'm just there as a sounding board trying to help him. Give him an
fear the injured pro.
I hope you're right, Coop. I hope you're right, Coop. But he knows how to play this golf course. He absolutely loves the golf course. I would love him to have a great week, regardless of what you think of what he's done with his career. I don't think there's anyone in the game of golf that really dislikes Louis Oosthuizen, and we
guy in deservance of a tournament, a major over here like the Masters, which I live in Augusta. I know the feeling on Sunday night when there's a champion that's accepted and when there's a champion that's not, and it's a different place. And Louis would make us drink all night long.
He's great. So we did some putting where we went through his normal little system on the bottom green. He'll do his speed stuff on the top green. With Harris, similar to what you said, Tony, we did a lot of pitch shots and chip shots, replicating what he's going to face out in the golf course. Bunker shots, same sort of idea. You're probably going to have a couple more layups this year on 13.
Agreed.
Lay up more.
Yep.
So we did a lot of wedge distances, and then hitting shots to different targets,
right.
Putting flags in different spots. Harris is, we've kind of gotten to a point where he's doing a lot of his swing work away from the golf course. We're doing a lot of little swing simulations and things like that, and then I can kind of see what way the golf club's moving, and I cued him in on a couple of things. Brian Harmon's been swinging the golf club really well since Austin. He looked really good. If he's going to win the golf tournament or do really well, his wedges have to be good. He has to drive it like Brian drives it, and he probably needs to hit really good fairway wood shots, so we've cued in on those areas. He's put a new 60-degree wedge in the bag with a fresh set of grooves on it. I think, Coop, you might know better than me, spin's your friend around the greens here, and the spin can help him an awful lot with that new wedge.
Your spin is at a high level here. I mean, it's so important because not having it, but sometimes not having it. Mm-hmm. It's very important to have control of how the ball spins, because you can spin it off these greens. And I do think this year, not knowing what the course is going to be like through the weekend with some weather issues makes it super hard on you teachers and instructors. But when it's all said and done, you guys work your butts off. We all work our butts off to have them ready when their name's called on the first tee, and I think we all do a great job at it. I just don't know how you do. Do your guys let you go with each other? I just couldn't imagine teaching 3 guys at the Masters or instructing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very fortunate to have 3 people that are they know each other. They've become kind of comfortable with the fact that I'm there. And, yeah, I mean, fortunately they didn't all say, right, I'm going to meet at 10 o'clock this morning, and that's a nightmare. But but they're fairly self-sufficient golfers. Harris, Bryan, and Louis, they're well-established players. It'd be very difficult in the position of Ben, where if we had 3 young players who really relied on us, but then they're not used to it either. So it's a tough deal, but it's good problems to have, Coop, I always say.
Good deal. Well, Jackson, I think, is important here because of the putting. And making this kid comfortable over the putter today, I noticed some things. He wasn't real comfortable at first when we were on the putting green on the golf course. And then you said some things, too. Can you tell me what you said? I didn't hear it.
Well, yeah, his tendency is just to sit back a whole bunch and his chest gets high.
Okay, so that's right, so moving away.
Yeah, and then the putter swings inside and it starts going out with a bunch of toe swing, and he has like heel strikes. So Monday you talked about how the longer putts were kind of jumping.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a posture stuff, which is some of the same stuff Tonia did with him at the USAM.
Right, because I know how he pays attention to the initial roll of the ball off the putter, and he noticed it was not.
He's got incredible feel, right? Like you tell him to do one thing, and you let him hit a couple, and his response afterwards is always really good.
I'm convinced that I know he's young and he's great, in my opinion, at golf, but I think that he's been reincarnated. He's lived a life as a pro, because I've never met a kid that's young that gets it like he does. He really understands what's going on. It's like, how do you know this? He asks the right questions. I'm just very impressed with his entire golf game, and I'm excited for tomorrow.
Well, it's going to be a fun day and a fun week. Going back to what you said, about getting into a little bit of the golf talk, we really worked on keeping that. When he gets crazy shut is when he gets it hinged and twisted behind him, and he kind of overbows his wrist.
For those who don't understand what we're talking about, you just have to know Ben Carr's beautiful setup.
It's a solid golf swing. He does have a very strong grip, and he does have an interesting arm action. He's got a beautiful arm action. He gets his left arm sliding down across his chest again in transition, which was interesting. And a real powerful kind of pivot to move it through. And I guess you need to have a powerful pivot if you're a little bit more strong than club face like he is. And you're saying he hits a nice little cut a lot of the time.
Yeah, when he came and we started working, and a lot of people had tried to change his grip or tell him he needed to change. And I was like, well, you don't need to change with that club face. You just don't need to hit draws. He was trying to play that grip and hit draws. And I was like, I think if all the great players are out there. We were hitting balls yesterday, and DJ's hitting right next to him. I'm like, well, there's a perfect example of a guy whose face is, wrist is more bowed or whatever. Yeah. So, but he's learned to hit it one way, and there's Kepka. There's all kinds of folks out there you could show them.
But that's where you've done a good job of him, and we talk about Butch Harmon, and Tony, you've taken him and you've done a great job of what he does fairly naturally, and you've made him see the game in a way that probably is going to be more beneficial with what he does naturally. And I think that's a sign of a teacher who's working with a player and not somebody who's just trying to tick a load of boxes. And as you say, you get a strong face at the top, and if it's closed at the bottom, as long as the path's moving left of the face, then he can turn it back on the target. So
yeah, and then that's where it came in. Like I said, we've talked about it. We had a really good phone conversation in January. That was kind of the startup of preparing for this. Yes. Right. And came out, was the first time I'd mentioned Coop to him. Jackson and I are on the phone, and I said, look, here's things. I said, he asked what he thought we need to get better at, and I said, I think your golf swing's going to be fine because you always hit it pretty good. And I said, but you got to get better at speed control on putting. You got to get better at hitting softer shots around the greens, because he would do the same thing in his full swing. In his full swing with short game, he'd get a little under, and everything came out hot. Mm-hmm. And it was okay on grainy Bermuda into the grain and stuff like that, but it would. You wouldn't be very good here.
Right.
And so to Jackson's credit, I said, you guys got to do that. And then the last thing was I was like, I think you got to get big, keep getting better shape and bigger and stronger so you can keep physically turn in front of that face and keep it from going left. Because one of the things I'd notice is like weeks that he wasn't in as good a shape or where they're traveling a lot, just watching like amateur golf in the summer, you know how it is.
Maybe not working out as much,
right.
Stretching, what
yeah.
have you. Pretty bad.
You'd see as he would get fatigued and tired that he would slow down going through it, and he'd hit a couple pulls. Yeah. So I felt like and we're fortunate. It's like you at Sea Island with all the guys, and Randy you have, and Louie's got Marnus, correct?
Louie's not. He's not. We've got Craig Knight. You've got a couple other guys. Yeah.
Well, but like they all have great guys.
There have been changes, Tony.
Sorry, you don't keep me up on everything. I'm just going from the last.
I didn't give him the memo.
I'm just going from the last seminar I was at with you, but But fortunate we got him into. We went down to Jupiter and let him work with Colby, and my goal this week too, and I want your opinion on this, and Coop too. Like, I wanted him to experience this week what it's like to play at this level from a preparation standpoint. Mm-hmm. And so, like in college, they have, and he's gone with us to see Colby, but I wanted him to have, and so we arranged to have it set up where he's getting the same treatment that JT or whoever is having with Tiger, where he's working with him before the round, treatment after. I think that's good for them to see, to prepare, to see, and also today he goes, man, I actually feel like I'm getting better every day at doing this because of the stuff we're doing, which, for me, was a big thing. And you've got tons of great young players too. I'd love your thoughts on that. And then Coop after him.
I want to hear Mr. Parsons first.
Well, I think it gives Ben a great opportunity to figure out what he likes and what he doesn't like as well about preparation, because it's as much as it's a really good idea to try and treat the Masters like any other golf tournament, it's very difficult to do that because it's not any other golf tournament. So he's got access to some to you all week. He's got access to Jackson all week. He's got a professional caddy on the bag. He's got a professional strength and conditioning person with him all week, so he can kind of figure out what he feels he needs and what he doesn't need, and that'll be good for his future. Jack Nicklaus always said that when he felt prepared, he knew he could win. So when he felt prepared, he knew he could win. And I think a lot of really good players, Harris talks about that a lot, when he feels like he's done a really good week of preparation, however he frames that, whatever that looks like. If he feels that way, that gives him confidence. And if we're giving them confidence, whether it's your putting coach or your swing coach or your caddy or wherever, then you're doing your job, because good confident golfers win golf tournaments. So
love that. Yes.
You've obviously been in a situation this week with Ben where he's like what you guys have done, and he's a good access, and it'd be hard for him to get the same experience when he's playing in his next amateur tournament, but at least it gives him a good framework as to what to work forward with.
I told Jackson this the other night. It's been funny. I've had three players make their first Masters. I've brought them.
That's amazing.
Smiley, obviously won early in his rookie year, made it to the final group. A couple years, which was the one during the COVID where we were here in November.
It was weird. That was weird.
It was a weird week. Lucas played, but he had played obviously with you, Coop, many times. But Andy Ogletree made it, and he was, low am. But it's interesting watching how different they were.
Yeah, hands down to the club, Augusta National, for having it in the fall. But like you said, it was just odd. It wasn't Augusta in the sense of the condition. One of the biggest players of this week is the weather. And that's a fact. So preparing, you got to prepare for both. You don't know what it's going to do, and that's a lot for your mind to conceive that it could be super fast, but it might be slow. And these guys figured out a way to do it, and that's what blows my mind.
So one of the things in that phone call, I'd said, Jackson was part of it, I said, hey, I thought if you got the opportunity to get somebody to caddy that's won a major and caddied at that golf course a bunch, and that would be a good fit personality-wise, I thought, it was a huge advantage. And we ended up, working it out and getting you on the bag. So I think all along you were like the guys like, hey, this guy's a good fit because Augusta. Tell us what you've seen and just talk about, you've been on the bag on a bunch of Masters. Like, what's it like being with a player out there, and what do you look for in a player? Like, you ever have a guy on the range where you're like, this is going to be good? There's something I can tell where the guy's going to play good?
Well, Tony, I met Ben, and I've just walked and watched him play with the caddy, and on the second hole, I was like, uh-oh, we've got something different here. This kid is different. When I got on the bag and started actually caddying for him, I started enjoying how knowledgeable he is with golf. You guys do such a great job with them, preparing them when they're young. The questions that he asked me were like, I mean, not putting anybody down or anything, but, you know, a lot of pros won't listen to you here. You know, they just will not listen. And he asks questions and he listens, and I just think he's got a better sense of what golf's all about at this level. You know, being an amateur, I'm astonished at how he's handling it. It's really impressive.
JP, what do you look for? Like, what do you look for when you have a player play good here? Do you ever get a feel early in the week where, like, a guy, like, you're like, hey, I think this guy, I'm always torn between whether I want him to hit it really good or not. Because some, you know, like, I mean, really, right? Like,
and you've been doing it so long. Yeah, I want to.
You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you're like a guy's striping it, and then they play shit, and then there's times.
I remind myself all the time that our job, Tony, is 95% disappointment. As Scott Twaite said to me today, 95% disappointment and 5% pleasure, enjoyment, whatever. So, you know, I think you got to try and level yourself, do your job, prepare them as best you can.
Oh, okay.
If you've prepared them as best you can, kind of it's in their hands then, and you've got to let them get on with it. And, you know, I don't know whether there's any great rhyme or reason for it, because if there was a great rhyme or reason for it, somebody would have scientifically figured it out or studied it or put it or something. But, you know, sitting here on Wednesday night, Brian Harmon looks fantastic. He's hitting every shot at the flag. His irons are good.
He can drive the piss out of the ball,
drives
too.
The shit out of it. You know, he's got spin control around the greens. He knows what he's doing. Harris is almost back to, you know, where he's at his most dangerous, which is, you know, he gets chewing that gum and he just starts hitting shot after shot out of the middle of the face. But then Louis might go win it.
I really like Brian's chances. I do. I can't. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No.
And I've caddied at this course for so many years, and this course favors a ball that enters at a certain angle, and the lefties, it comes in softer. I don't know if that makes sense, but a little cut from the lefties around this course will get you a long ways. And Brian's playing good, and I just think that, I mean, that's a good pick to play well.
Don't you think, too, we talked about this, like, one of the things he'd said to me about Ben and was, like, how well he's driven the golf ball. And I think that over the years, like, I think you got to drive the golf ball good here now with the length that's added and the way they've changed things over the years. I had a few pops last night, and I watched the old 84 Masters with Crenshaw, right? And, like, you know, you didn't have to drive it as good back then. No. You know, right? Like that golf
wide open.
Right. And we couldn't believe like how much fewer trees there were back then than you would.
Between 1 and 9 was a row of trees. Now it's a forest.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I mean, it's astonishing how they can do that.
But going back to Harm, like, I think, like, one thing I said to him, and like it was about Ben, like, man, if he can keep driving the golf ball like this, I think he'll at least give himself the opportunity to make the cut and do some good for him, right? I think it's hard as a amateur and as a rookie, but like with Harm, like that's the thing to me, like he can drive that golf ball.
Well, the thing, Coop, I love about the golf course is that you can, regardless of whether you got a medium hitter like Brian or a medium to long hitter like Harris. I was here, I helped Gary Woodland when you had a long hitter with Gary. The strategy changes, and you can still, like Zach Johnson's won this golf tournament.
Right.
He never tried to hit a par 5 and 2. Dustin Johnson's won this golf tournament beautifully, you know. So I love the fact that you can go from player to player and strategy to strategy and try and figure out, okay, how does a Brian Harmon win this golf tournament? How does a Harris English win this golf tournament? As a coach, I think that's a thrilling kind of thing to get into.
Because it individualizes to where, and I know you guys teach and coach, individually, but it's a different plan for each team. Mm-hmm. And
all right, back to short game boy over here.
Here we go.
So, what are you looking for when you I've noticed you walking around looking at all. First time, obviously, being inside the ropes here and at a major.
Okay, let's say this. If you miss a green at Augusta, it's not going to be easy. So go ahead, Jackson.
But you're watching all the other great players around there. What are some of the things you've picked up and learned and enjoyed watching from the other players here at Augusta? And we're toasting. Yes, we're drinking beers doing this.
That was not.
I don't have a beer sponsor for this, or I'd call it out. So if anybody's interested, we are selling.
And I can broker that.
Were y'all wanting food or anything?
I think we're just hanging out.
A little bit about what we talked about last night. Like watching Larry Mize hit shots around those greens was incredible. So good. But I think what was interesting, especially on all of the upslopes, because he tossed a lot of balls on upslopes, how stock his motion was. Like it wasn't like he was hitting a bunch of crazy shots, and then every green he'd maybe toss a couple into a bad spot and hit something unique.
It was very interesting watching him through his balls.
Very interesting.
Pretty sure this is where they go.
Correct.
And you see a lot of guys in just normal tournaments, say the Honda Classic. We're playing behind a group. It's like, why is he chipping from there? Who hits it there? And Larry throws his balls where you miss the golf shots to these people.
That's good there.
Well, I also think the thing I noticed with my ailing short game is you've got to have a perfect strike.
I know a guy for you, JP.
You need to have a perfect strike.
Yes.
You really do. It's like if you lose control of your strike at all around the greens, and obviously you got these incredibly talented players who do tend to have perfect strikes, but then that needs to get matched up with the right wedge. Like Brian, we're talking about the right grooves, and then you got spin control. I've watched those short chips and medium length pitches, and you have to be able to control the golf ball on the bounce that you need to control it. Would you be with that, Jack?
Agreed, 1,000%, especially if the course gets firm and fast, and if you're going to use slopes. Because if you're going to use a slope in a certain spot and you miss that landing area, or you have improper contact, that ball's running away from you.
And one of the things I'm trying to always encourage the lads to do is use the fringes around here, because the fringes are so good. They're so uniform that if you can start to use the fringes, and then sometimes you get control of it on the second bounce, and then it can go. It can make a difficult shot harder or easier.
And Coop, you mentioned that the first day about how much speed the fringes take off of it.
Correct. I did mention that to you. I don't know why, but the fringe is your friend.
It's because you're really good at this, Coop.
It's your friend. Like if you can land it on a fringe on a downhill down grain, you have a chance.
He's sneaky, really good at this.
A lot of the ones who don't bark about it are very good at what they do.
Isn't that amazing? It's funny.
That's how I like it.
I still think Coop's getting philosophical on us.
I'm just saying, somebody that tells you how good looking they are probably aren't that good looking.
So we're getting a couple minutes left. Coop,
we going to talk about this lip tattoo or what?
No, we ain't going to this guy. JP, what do you think it's going to take to win this week?
Tomorrow's going to be nice. Friday's going to be average. Saturday seems to be awful. It's going to be wet, cold too. Which I don't think. We haven't talked about Tiger.
I actually haven't really seen. I mean, he's played.
I saw him a couple of times on the range. He's doing his thing. He's what score do I think might win this week?
Just win. You think scoring's going to be low tomorrow?
12 under was last year. I think Scotty shot 12. I think the cut was 2 over. I think, I'm always looking at that 12th place number is a really cool thing for the guys to get back next year, which I think was 2 or 3 under last year. Maybe I could be wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if they're taking one shot away from you on 13 or 2 shots over 4 rounds. I wouldn't be surprised if 10 under won it.
Wow.
So might have low scores tomorrow, but Saturday will find them out, I reckon.
Yeah. What do you think the cut's going to be about?
Decent Thursday, Friday, maybe. 2 over last year. Take a shot away from me in 13. I'd probably 2 over this year as well.
2 over.
It's always interesting having worked for a couple of past champions of Schwartzel. And Charles said to me, this is a major cut you should make because it's a short field and it's a full cut.
Hardest golf tournament to get in, easiest to win.
Yes. So you've got 94 players playing this week, and then
what's the cut?
50 in ties, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
50 in ties.
So that's like a 57 number. So you're actually probably only having a big
no
30.
more 10 shot rule here.
Yeah, they used to do the
They
10
used to
shot
do
rule.
that. So.
I'm going to go watch. I'm going to go watch Crenshaw's second Masters tonight after I have a few cocktails.
That's a good thing to do.
Yep.
I'm excited.
What do you think the winning numbers?
I was very one shot off of you. I think it's going to be one less.
The last 11 under.
I like 11 under to win.
Cut same.
I think it'll be 3 because I just don't know why. 13. In my opinion, it will add 1 stroke to the field. I think it will.
So from a caddy's perspective, what do you think about the changes, and who do you think it helped?
There's announced changes and there's unannounced changes. I think the unannounced changes play as big a part as anything. Like the right of 11 green is no longer a safe bailout. It's treacherously hard. It's dug down 3-4 feet. The green's above you. It's not like when Larry Mize chipped in. So it makes that, in my opinion, a stroke more difficult because it's a par 5. I think 5's a par 5 in a sense. It's so difficult of a hole that guys that make bogey, if you make bogey there, in my opinion, you're with the field.
5 to me is one of the hardest holes on the golf course.
I think it is probably the hardest hole in the golf course.
Yeah, I mean it's so long now, and that green is unbelievable.
It is super difficult. And the angles, the tee point's right, the hole goes left. It's just really, it's a great hole. It's very difficult, but 3 over would be my cut, and 11, probably 11.
Jackson?
I think it's going to be a little bit lower. If you get somebody that plays well and they get good weather, so maybe they've got like a late Thursday, early Friday, and they post 2 really good scores. Saturday's okay, and somebody puts up a good number on Sunday. I think you could get somebody to shoot 14.
But with that sub-air that we started off, I could see them trying to get that thing as firm as they could for tomorrow and Friday before the rain so that the scores don't get low before the weather hits, I mean, they're sneaky over there.
Well, I mean, that's the par 3 course is a great distraction for us. We're all heading over there to see all these children running around, and they go to get their work done.
Start triple cutting, verticutting, and blowing.
I told Tony when we were walking over there, I was like, I would love to be a fly in the wall in that tournament committee right now and just hear what they're talking about.
Well, I have a friend on the grounds crew, so I'll be having a late night phone call with him. And
Insider information.
And lastly, I think my favorite part, the few times I've been able to come as a coach, is the stuff like this, being able to see, like you, all the teachers and coaches that are there hanging out at the Caddy Shack, and really everybody kind of chats and hangs out. Like that side of it's pretty relaxed, actually.
Like no other tournament of the year again. We don't get to talk with you guys.
Right.
We've had a lovely time. We're in there with the caddies, which is, I think, a great place for us to be, because that's where we get the best information about the players.
And you can tell us if we're doing something wrong.
Yeah, not that you ever did anything wrong.
Coop's never done anything wrong.
Great to see Butch Harmon on the range this week with Tommy Fleetwood and Harold Varner the third, and obviously still helps DJ and stuff a little bit and bits and pieces. But great to see Butch.
Court.
Oh, yeah.
He's holding court.
He told me a joke. Loved it.
You probably can't repeat that joke.
No, I cannot.
And Jackson made an observation today. Go ahead, tell him what that
is. So, obviously, I'm a big Butch fan, too. And I was walking across the tee box yesterday. Walked past him, walked back, did it a second time. All 4 times, he and his player were laughing.
Yeah, but again, we probably can't repeat what they were laughing about.
While they were laughing.
Well, guys, this has been fun. Thanks for joining us. Coop, thanks for all you do. JP, thanks for all the friendship and the help. Jackson, just thanks for driving me around Augusta this week in the luxury car that you have. We're going to pitch in and get you a new one. 2.9.
Hanging with you guys is a pleasure.
You're the best, guys.
Cheers, Oz.
I hope you enjoyed this edition of The Tour Coach and this conversation that we brought to you about playing, learning, and teaching the game of golf. We'll be back next week with another edition of The Tour Coach. in between now and next week, make sure you follow us on our social channels. You can always find me at The Dew Sweeper on Instagram, or go to our YouTube page where you'll see a scene and a video from my teachings daily on our YouTube channel. You can find that by looking up Tony Ruggiero and the Dew Sweepers on YouTube. Until then, make sure you follow and check out Everything Tour Coach and all our sponsors, Srixon Cleveland Golf, Bushnell, Vineyard Vines, and Buick GMC. I'll be back next week to help all of us appreciate, learn, and enjoy the game of golf.